For today, we're looking at the GeoSync Go Plus application in the GeoSync Go family of products. We have the original GeoSync Go Mobile, GeoSync Go Plus that we're looking at today, and we also have GeoSync Go Desktop. We have tools for ArcGIS Desktop for GeoSync Go and GeoSync Go AM tools. Today, we're looking at GeoSync Go Plus, everything from workflow data input from our workflows, getting information from the map view, talking about individual usernames and passwords when you log in. We're also want to remind you that GeoSync Go Plus at this point is a connected app, so you do have to have an internet connection before you can fully utilize all of the functionality of the app. What we'll look at in GeoSync Go Plus, particularly the map interface, as well as brief overview of the new resource view. The first thing we'll do is looking at starting up the app, actually opening it, just a brief overview of how to get to publicly available web maps from GeoSync Go, and then also signing in for your private mapping application. We'll look at menus, toolbars, how to navigate the map, viewing information, the attributes, images, things like that are part of the data. We'll also look at doing searches, searching by feature attributes or by coordinates. We'll also look at the measure tool. That's actually been there for a while, but we'll go over that again. And we'll look at the GPS tools. There have been some, there are some new updates and changes in the GPS tool functionality. We'll also look at data collection. There are a few updates on that as well. And then, as I mentioned earlier, an overview of the resource interface that we've added. So at this point, we will go live demo. Hopefully this all works. Nothing to say about live demos. Okay, so once you start the app, and again, this all looks the same on either a laptop, tablet, your phone. Of course, you know, the phones and tablets may be a little smaller screen, obviously. But when you first start the app, you'll get the sign-in page. But before we sign in, you actually use a username and password to access your mapping applications. Those are basically in private mode. They're your applications, your mapping, your data that only you or your users have access to. But you also have the option of doing Discover Maps. Now, the Discover Maps here in the top right, any GeoSync Go Plus web maps that are made publicly available. One of the featured maps that we've published here on the screen, or you can actually search for one of your maps that you made public or someone else's by, I'll look for our CAMP, Kentucky Associated Mapping Professionals, geocache that we did. So that map, if I type in CAMP here, hit enter, I'll see anything that was CAMP, or it could be, I'll look for Todd's maps, or you actually search for the map name. Simply select view, and it takes you to that map. Now, that can also be password protected in case you want to put your own map projects out there for other people in your organization to see, but you don't want everybody to see it. There is a way you can add a password to that so not anybody can get to it, or you can even hide them if you want. So at this point, I'm going to go back to my sign in, and we will look at signing into your private projects. The way you do this here, I'm going to put in my username and my password, click submit. Once you submit your username and password, you'll see a list of your projects that you have available. In this case, I only have one, but if I had more, there would be other map projects listed here. So I'll select the map projects I want to view, and that map project opens up. So in the settings, the users can actually be defined for. You can define which maps that user can open and what they have available, what they can do, you know, what capabilities they have while they're there. So the first thing we'll look at, let's look at the menus. We got two different sets of menus. The first one is your main menu. That's the three bars here at the top left. You select that actually opens the menu tab, if you will, and you'll notice there's several menu items here. The first one is projects. So you could actually go back, once you've logged in, you go in and select a different map project that is available to your user. So, and again, in this case, I only have one map project, so I'll just be reopening my map, but I may have another one here that I could open. You also have searches. The searches are predefined predefined searches. These are searches you can actually create for any of the data resources that you have assigned to this project. In this case, I've got search by address, search by intersection. We'll look at those a little more in depth in a few minutes. You also have the layers menu. The layers is basically a legend or list of the active layers. You also have a on and off toggle. I can turn layers on and off, see the legend, that type of thing. Again, these are your active layers. That's actually coming from your data, we'd say your vector data, workflows and such. We also have tile sets. Now, tile sets, this is a legend or a list of the tile sets. These are basically background mapping, and they as well. And so they're basically imagery for the most part that can actually stack. In this case, we see we've got our flood zones, we've got our MapSync street map, our Kentucky base map, we've got base flood elevations. These we can turn on and off as well. And again, the tile sets are our background. The history is a list of features that have been collected on this device. So if I've gone in and added a new location or a new feature, a new point, if you will, on the map, I'll have a list of that, of what's been done on this device. I can open those back up and edit it if I want to. But that's a list of what I've done on this laptop or this tablet or my phone. So anything I've added here there'll be a history of that. And again, you can actually, if you want to have more of a map view, you can click the menu button again. It takes the panel out, so you've got more map view. The other menu is your user menu, and that's this circle with your initials. And the initials are the first and last, or the first letter of the first two names of your username. In this case, it's Todd Williams, so I have TW, so it lets me know I'm logged in. If I select that button, the user menu, you'll see the drop down with sub menu items. We have resources. We'll go into that a little later, but this actually takes us to our resources view. We'll look at that a little bit later, but that's one of the new functions. The account takes us to our account settings. Basically, where we do all the settings and the project setup. We're not going to go through that today. We'll do an overview of the user functionality, the standard user functionality. There's another webinar that we'll go over in detail on how to get in and utilize the account settings. There's an offline mode. If you do need to be disconnected at some point, you open your map, zoom to the area that you want, select offline mode, so that information in that map view is available even if you get disconnected. The Discover Maps takes you to the Discover Maps we looked at earlier, so you can look at other publicly available websites. The About menu basically tells you, I would select this one, it tells you, like anything else, about the product, what the name of the product is, the version, that kind of thing, who wrote it, all that. There is a new option in here, though. You can actually set your theme to light or dark. If I set this to dark, close, show you here, it sets my background and all my menu items to a darker theme. This was added particularly for law enforcement. And we have several law enforcement officers utilizing the product, and at night when they're on night shift, the bright screen is just way too brilliant, way too bright, and for that need. So we added the ability to change that to a dark mode, so it doesn't shine. So you don't light up the entire inside of a vehicle. Let's see. So then the last one is the sign out. The sign out. This is important because if you sign out, obviously you have to sign back in with your username and password. So one option, if you do not want to sign in every time, use your password on that device, you can simply use the close, and on Windows you do use the X and close if you're on a Android or iOS, a mobile device, basically just go to the applications and close that rather than sign out. So that way, the next time you open the product, open the application, open the app, you will not have to sign in. Now, some of the basics for our map interface. We have we want to be able to navigate the app, as I mentioned. Oh, first we have the toolbar. Let me go to the toolbar. We have a new toolbar here at the top. You'll see several tools pop up here at the top, depending on what you're doing. We'll look at those as we go along. In this case, at the moment, we have our grid tool. Basically, what this one does, it'll actually open a grid view panel, and then any layers that you have are available. You can select that and see a more of a spreadsheet type view of the features. Now that's only what's visible on the screen. So you can just get a list of those and sort them by the different headings. You can also, I forgot, you can actually sort on this too. I could turn off, all of the blank records if I wanted. And we can also search from here. So if I wanted to search on the location, I could search for any value that's in there and search for that. So the next thing we'll look at this menu, this toolbar item is your URL link to the map. So that's actually a link to this map that you can send to someone. In this case, it would have to be another user because they would have to sign in, but you can send this to someone and it would open their map view up where you are. Here at the bottom, this is our information window. You'll see we have our identify, our images. This is our GPS menu. This one is our, we'll look at these as we go along. This is our find a coordinate tool, and this is the measure tool. So let's look at getting some information, or viewing some information from the map. We need to know how to navigate the map first. Navigating the map is very similar to most other web-based mapping. If you want to move around, you simply click, drag, and move the map. You can zoom in, zoom out, either using these tools or, in this case, I'm rolling, or if you're on a mobile device, you can pinch to zoom. So it is that simple. So back to the information window. The identify, simply click on the identify and it will show you the information, the attributes for the feature that you've identified. To identify a feature, you simply go over to the map, you click on the feature, it shows you the attributes. I'll click on another one here, and also if you hover over a feature, it will give you a map tip, the name. So I'll select that feature. You'll see this is an EOC building, and we have an image. If I want to see an image that's attached, simply select the camera, click on the image, and it shows up. It shows the image, and that's any image that we have, excuse me, any image that we've attached. So let's see. We mentioned earlier the searches. I'll go back to the menu and some different ways we can search for items on the map. In this case, we go to the menu, go to searches, type in an address, and say I'm looking for 308 West Maple. I type in my address. Okay. In this case, I typed in Maple Avenue. I typed in Maple, and it shows me anything that has Maple on it. And this is actually searching our address points. So let's try West Maple. I'll select. you can type in any part of, in this case, an address. So I just typed in W Maple and it shows the results are all of the addresses for West Maple. I could even refine that by typing in the address number. Oh, I don't know what's going on here. Different address data source. They have the addresses at the end in this one. It depends on your source, on how you what results you get. But once you type in your search, you'll get a list of results. You select that result, and it takes you to that location. We also have, in this case, we've added an intersection search. So I can look for, I want to find intersections with West Maple. There's West Maple and Elm Street. So it takes me to, now that, again, that is a data source that we have attached or have included in this project. So we can find that. Another search you can do is you can actually do a, let's see, coordinate search. Type in a latitude and longitude, hit find, it'll take you to that location. Once you have a location, either by using a latitude, longitude, or if you just simply right-click on the map to get a location, you can also do, this is another new function, if you do directions, this actually takes you to your copy of Google Maps and throws that coordinate on the map. Now, what you do with it from there, you can you can utilize your Google Maps as usual. Basically, what it does is it just takes that coordinate and passes it to the Google Maps, so you can utilize that product functionality. Pardon me. So that is pretty much the searching. I mean, as far as the basic search functionality. Another map interface that you may like to utilize is the measurement tool. To do that, you select the measurement tool, start measure, and you simply click on the points that you want to measure to and from. And as you notice, as I click, I get the last point coordinate. I'll get the distance of the line, and this also, at the same time, it does also do a polygon or an area. So at this point, I've got 3 points. If these two closed, that area would be 1.66 acres. So I've got a square there that's 3.47 acres. If I click end, I'll get an information box that pops up. Shows me my acreage if it's closed, my total perimeter length. I can actually center the map on this area, or I can delete it. But before I delete it, I want to show you if I close this box, that measurement stays on the screen. Even if I go back, identify another feature or whatever, I can always reselect that measure and bring the area back up and delete it. Okay, so now we'll go to the GPS tools that are here. And for this, I'm going back to I do not have a GPS unit connected, so I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint for that. So the GPS tools, if you, as I mentioned, you have your GPS tool here in your information box, so your GPS menu. Excuse me. So the GPS menu, let's start there. If I have GPS attached or connected on a Windows device, on mobile devices, Android, iOS, your phones, tablets, if they have built-in GPS, it's automatically available. Well, automatically you have to allow it, make sure it's allowed. But to start your GPS, you simply click Enable. the backup. Tablets, phones, that type of thing, you would just simply hit enable. If you're using a Windows device, typically do not have an internal device, GPS, so you would need to use a GPS-Mapsync GPS IVL tool that basically connects the GPS device and sends the coordinate so we can get it. Again, so you simply click enable and the GPS starts. The settings, however, if you select settings, these are GPS settings. The first one, GNSS, that's if you're using a Trimble, in this case, we'll talk about Trimble, a GNSS GPS device. And for example, the Trimble R1 and R2. I have that connected. I will turn it till I'm using GNSS, and then here at the right, once I do that, I can pick the actual GNSS unit that's connected. So identify the actual unit. We also have the option of keeping the location on the screen. Basically what that means is if I turn that on, as I move, the map will refresh to make sure my GPS location shows on the map. So if I'm moving and my GPS goes off the map will move to keep me on the map. The show navigation is, I tell you, if that's on, you'll see your GPS location and any feature or location that you selected. You'll see a blue line with a distance to that feature, and that is live. It updates as you move, so you'll know how it's a asset recovery type situation where it'll show you how far you are from the unit or from the feature and the direction to it. Now back to the GPS. The GPS location, when it's on the map, you have it turned on, it's on the map, it'll be a blue dot with a white circle around it, this GPS location here. Now you've also got an accuracy flag here that shows you what kind of accuracy you're getting from your GPS unit. In this case, I was using a commercial grade GPS on a phone. So it's basically the internal GPS on my phone or tablet. So I'm only getting 12.8 feet, which is not bad. Now the GPS, or the GPS settings and the information view, as I mentioned, it showed you earlier, you can actually close that and open it or display or turn it off, so you can have more view of the map. So now on data collection, we looked at the basic tools, how to get around the map, how to identify things. So now we want to utilize the ability to collect data with our map. The first thing you need to do to collect data is determine what the location of the feature that you're collecting. Two ways to do that. You can either use the internal GPS, you can utilize, if you don't have GPS turned on or you're not utilizing GPS, you can simply click on the location on the map. On Windows, you'll right-click to get this location marker. On the tablets, mobile devices, you click, hold, and release. Hold about half a second. You click on the location, hold about half a second, release. Windows, you right-click. That brings up, again, this is what I would consider the manual selection or the manual location. So I've clicked on my location. Options pop up here to close, to delete that location, or to do a report. This folder, we're going to actually do a collection. So if we select that, then we go into it opens up our feature menu, the different forms that we would select. So if we were doing a water meters location or code enforcement, we select the appropriate feature type. It opens the form. You fill out the form, hit save, and that's a new feature report. If you're utilizing GPS, either internal GPS or your GNSS, you'll have a location. You'll see your location on the map. And to collect a feature or a point, collect information at that location, at that actual GPS coordinate, you go to the top menu bar, and there's a little round icon that looks somewhat like a compass. That's your activation for your collection. You select that, it uses that coordinate at that point. Then it'll bring up your feature type list. You can pick the type of feature. Once you pick your feature, then you have your report or your form that you can fill out to do to create the report or the new feature report. So you can manually select on the map, or you can use GPS. Either way, once you do either the folder, the new report, or the collect GPS location, you'll get your feature type list. Pick your feature. You'll get the report form. Fill out the information. Click save. You got it. Okay. At this point, we'll look at. Oh, sorry. Also, on the feature location, if you want to add a image, you select media. The media button while you have your report open. You can click. You can actually on a Windows device, it'll prompt you to select an image that's already been captured. On a mobile device that has a camera, you can actually activate the camera, take the picture, and add it. It'll add it automatically to that feature. So now let's look at. We mentioned the resources interface. To get to the resources, this is something new. It's more of a grid type view of your data. It's the same data that's in the map. They're integrated. You can switch back and forth between the two. So, and again, it is the same data, it's just a different view of it. So to get to that, you go to your user menu and select resources. And as a note, the resources view, if you have a user that always utilizes or initially or primarily utilizes resources, it can be that user can be configured to where that resource view will open initially or automatically by default. So in this case, we were in the map. Go to our user menu, select resources. It will bring up your project list again. So you'll select your project, the same one we just opened, and it will take you to your resources interface view. A note on the resources. To utilize the resources, your data source has to, or you have to utilize the data sources and menus from your web forms set up in GeoSync Go. There's a whole another webinar that we'll discuss that in detail. But again, you won't be able to use this with your initial or the previous SQL-based workflows if you have those. So to utilize web sources, you have to utilize the GeoSync Go web forms setup. Once you select your project, like say when it opens up, you'll see your initial dashboard view. This is basically all the records of all the different sources. See, we've got pre-plans, events, draft locations, hazardous materials. That's all of the features. You can select on one of these features and click View. Opens up another box, and this is an individual record view. You'll see the attributes for that record. Back up. As with others, you can also select the heading here and sort the list by selecting on any of the headings, or you can even select the so basically sort them. So the other views in the resources, of course, for a while ago we looked at the dashboard. If you want to look at one of your your resource or your workflow, individual workflows, say pre-plans. Those are listed here. We have draft locations, our hazardous materials, our pre-plans, our events. So if I select pre-plans, I'll look at just the pre-plan records. That's the next list. If I want to see the information about one of these pre-plan records, I can select it, click View, and I've got another view of that feature. You can see all of the attributes. You can also, of course, go back, click again, look at them again. If you have photos available, there'll be or an image available. There'll be another table down here that shows the images for that feature when you select it. So you can also add records in the resource view. So if I have a pre-plan that I want to add, I can go to my pre-plans workflow, click New. That will bring up you got two options on selecting the location for that new feature. You can actually click the map, the new feature. You select it from a map view, just like we did if we were in the map view. Right click, hold and release, or right click on Windows or hold and release on a mobile device to get your location. Or you can actually use the new feature option. That circle's in the wrong place. If you do new feature, you have the option to do if you have an address. If you have existing features, in this case, we're utilizing the address data source, so we've got that built in. So we can actually select address, search for an address, pick that address, and continue. So you can click on the map, or you can search existing features such as an address to get your location for your new feature. So that brings up, you can bring up your form. Once you do the continue, it brings up the form for that feature set. You fill out the information and save. If you would like to edit an existing record in the resource view, you select the feature. In this case, where we select our pre-plans workflow, select the feature, we view it from the view menu. And again, this is just like we did before. You're viewing the attributes for that feature. You simply click edit, and it'll open up the form, and you notice everything that was already there is still there. Your information that you typed in before, so you can go in and change that, update it, add to it, click save, and it saves the feature. Now, one thing I want to mention with the latest GeoSync Go Plus, being connected, which you will be connected. When you have a data connection, when you create a new feature or update a feature, that is a live edit. You'll see the results of that within seconds. So if you set a new feature, it'll be on the map or it'll be in the resource view. That is all I have today. Thank you very much for attending the webinar.